I have some encouraging news for home buyers in California. Nearly 90% of California's counties have more houses for sale than they did 1 year ago, which is giving home buyers more negotiating power. Because inventory has been on the rise as well, homes are selling for less than the seller's asking price in the vast majority of the state, and prices are coming down as well because 28% of California's counties posted a decrease in their annual median sale price. I have a ton of info to share in today's video based on what's happening right now at the countywide level in California. If you missed my previous video, I went over in great detail regarding home prices, housing inventory, home sales, and much, much more at the statewide level. I'll provide a link in the video description below if you guys want to check out that video posted about 1 week ago. But I have a ton of info to share in today's video, so let's begin. This report, by the way, is from the California Association of Realtors, just posted a couple weeks ago, and I'll have an update for you guys regarding October's numbers in about 2 weeks. Anyways, here's a snapshot what's happening at the statewide level. I'll briefly touch on this. Existing home sales, and by the way, this video is only looking at single family houses, so excluding condos and of course excluding brand new home construction. So home sales were up by 5.1% compared to September of 2023. Meanwhile, California's median sale price was at $868,000. That was up by 2.9% year over year. But like I mentioned in my previous video, that was the smallest year-over-year gain since July of 2023. In other words, home prices are still higher than last year, but the gains are getting actually narrower or smaller. This is likely from a rise of inventory levels and of course sales remaining at relatively low levels as well. Meanwhile, for the state as a whole, and keep these two figures in mind because I'm going to share how each of the major regions fare, because of course there are some big differences. So the month supply for the state's at 3.6 months, days in the market's at 24 days. That's an increase of 33.3% year over year, which means that houses are still selling quickly, selling about 3 weeks. 1 year ago, they were selling about 18 days. So houses taking a little bit longer than last year, but still selling relatively quick. All right, let's have a look at how each of the regions fared. Let's talk about SoCal first. Home sales up by 1.1%, a little bit softer than the state as a whole, up by 5.1%. Remember, 3.6 months and 24 days, which is in line with SoCal as well. And on average, houses are selling for the seller's asking price because that ratio, the sale price to final list price ratio is at 100%. Their median sale price is at $850,000, up by 3.7%. And again, sales up by about 1%. In the Central Coast, though, sales are down nearly 2%, and prices are up by 4.6%. The ratio is a little bit softer there at 98.9%. This means that houses that did sell in September, they sold on average for 1.1 percentage points less than the seller's final list price. Let's also take a look at the Central Valley. Of course, you guys all know I live here and work as an agent here in the greater Sacramento area. Sales are down by 1.6%. But our median sale price is up by 4% year over year. We're at $500,000, quite a bit less than the $993,000 in the Central Coast, and SoCal at $850,000. The inventory index, days in the market, is on par with the average. Same goes for the sale price to final list price ratio. Homes are on average selling about 0.7 percentage points less than asking. In the Bay Area, I mean, look at these prices, $1.266 million, down 2.6%. So for the Bay Area as a whole, their median sale price is down this September compared to September of 23. Sales are up by 5.1%. These figures below tend to be a lot more competitive compared to statewide averages. The month supply at 2.8 months, still at relatively low levels. Days in the market, homes on average taking about 3 weeks to sell. That's a time frame when you list your home for sale until you accept an offer from a home buyer. But this is based on closed home sales. So this is a lagging indicator. Also, that ratio at 100% is in line with the statewide average. The far north is vastly different because their metrics tend to be a lot softer. So homes taking about 38 days to sell. The month supply is at 4.9 months. Home sales, that actually was the biggest gain amongst these big regions, up by 7.2%, but prices are down by 1.4%. And anytime I'm talking about prices in today's video, this does not equate to home values. This does not mean that if you own a home in the far north, that your home value just decreased by 1.4%. We're only talking about their median sale price. This means that half of the houses that sold, in this case, half the houses sold for less than $379,000 and half sold above that amount. So that was a decline of 1.4%. In regards to sales, again, like I mentioned in my previous video, this bottomed out really in late 2022, and sales really haven't recovered very much at all. The line right here is far below pre-COVID, so we should be seeing around 400,000 sales each month, that is seasonally adjusted and annualized, and now we have around 255,000. And that, by the way, is the lowest level in about 9 months, down by 3.4% from August. This decline is quite noteworthy though, because mortgage rates decreased in August, and August rates really have to do with closed home sales in September. You get your offer accepted in August, you lock in your rate, then you close escrow or the sale is finalized in September. And what happened in August? Rates decreased to around a 15-month low, but still, despite that 15-month low in rates, average mortgage rates, sales still decreased by 3.4%. All right, let's talk about how each of the regions fared here regarding sales. Here's a pie chart just showing how big the market is in SoCal at 44%, which is basically the combination of all the home sales in the Central Valley as well as the Bay Area. In contrast, the Central Coast was only represented about 4% of all home sales this September. Now here's what I'm focusing on regarding the growth rate in sales on a year-over-year basis, because looking at month-to-month changes, if it's not seasonally adjusted, it doesn't account for the fact that we tend to see a decrease in sales in September compared to August, right? So let's have a look at sales this September compared to 12 months ago. And this is what really caught my attention. SoCal barely squeaked out a gain, up by 1.1. The Bay Area saw a big increase, up by 5.1. And again, the far north up by 7.2%. In the Central Valley, down by 1.6. The Central Coast is down by nearly 1.9%. But I'll share with you guys here in a little bit. We're seeing a big increase of inventory, but despite that, sales are remaining very, very low. In regards to home prices for the state as a whole, it was a gain of 2.9% year over year, but that was the smallest yearly gain in about 14 months. So this 2.9% gain was the smallest increase going back to July of 2023. It's also much lower than long-run average. Based on my nerdy analysis that I shared in my previous video, on average, home prices tend to increase in California, up by 8% each September compared to the previous September, going back to the year of 2010. So the gain of 2.9% is losing momentum compared to previous months, but also much lower than the 8% average going back to 2010. Now the month-to-month change, like I mentioned, is a little bit different though. It's down by 2.3%, which is normal though, because home prices tend to decrease compared to August. So for example, the average change from August through September going back to 2010 is a decrease of 2.1%. This year it fell by 2.3%, so more or less in line with historical norms. Also, take a look at this. Here's the percent of houses selling over asking for each of the 53 counties that are tracked by the California Association of Realtors. Now, here's what really stood out to me. There's only 4 counties in which, on average, houses sold over the seller's asking price this September. Those 4 counties were San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Clara, and Alameda counties, selling more often than not over the seller's asking price. In contrast, though, this means that 49 of the 53 counties tracked by CAR, or 92%, are experiencing homes selling for less than the seller's asking price on average this September. So for example, in Sacramento, only around 40% are selling over asking. This means, of course, that 60% are selling less than the seller's asking price this September. By the way, I've been making this video for years now. Back in early 2022, this was basically flipped. The vast majority of homes selling way over asking and a small percentage selling for less than the seller's asking price. Conditions improving for home buyers here in California. Taking a look at inventory levels or the amount of houses for sale compared to 1 year ago, we're up by 36% for the state as a whole. Again, improving conditions for home buyers, giving you more options. But here's what's not improving very much, and that is the level of new supply in the market or people listing their house for sale. That did increase by 13.2% from last year, but at just under 22,000 new listings this September, it's below the previous years, going all the way back until at least September of 2018. Big summary for you guys. We have more homes for sale in the state. This is due to an increase of new listings, but also due to the fact that sales are remaining at very low levels, which is also contributing to the rise of inventory in the state. Now, speaking of that, here is a pretty eye-opening snapshot looking at active listings, housing inventory, or the amount of houses for sale, one and the same, compared to home sales. And again, one of the reasons why active listings have been increasing is due to a lack of home sales. In the Bay Area, they have around 38% more homes for sale, but sales only increased by 5.1%. SoCal, small increase of 1.1% in sales, even though they have 42.3% more housing supply. In the Central Valley, sales fell by 1.6%, even though supply is up by 36%. Same goes for the Central Coast, sales down by 1.9%, inventory up by 33.4%. Also, check this out. Here's housing supply across all the counties that are tracked by CAR. CAR tracks around 53 counties across the state. So looking at this chart, around 89% of California's counties have more homes for sale this September compared to 12 months ago. There's only 6 counties that have inventory down compared to last year. Those were San Francisco, down by 14.4%, Kings, Lassen, San Mateo, Glenn County, and Trinity. In contrast, the Contra Costa County, as well as Alameda, is up by over 90%. Contra Costa, they have 97.1% more homes for sale, and Alameda is up by about 90%. So those two counties have approximately, very close to double the amount of homes for sale compared to 12 months ago. That is contributing to a decrease in prices there, by the way, which I'll share that with you guys here in a little bit. Speaking of that, here's how each of the regions fared and also the counties regarding prices and home sales. So big picture, based on my nerdy analysis here, 28% of California's counties that are tracked by CAR recorded an annual median price decrease. In other words, 15 of the 53 counties posted a decrease in prices compared to 12 months ago. Also, in regards to home sales, 25 recorded sales decreases from last year. So approximately 47% of California's counties have registered a decrease in prices from September of 2023. This means, of course, that in contrast, 53% posted a year-over-year gain. So here's what really caught my attention. The biggest increase for these major regions is actually in Inland Empire. Their median sale price rose by 5.5%. That was the biggest increase. In contrast, there was two regions that posted a decrease. That was the far north, down by 1.4%, and the Bay Area is actually down by 2.6%. So speaking of the Bay Area, let's take a look at that, because again, remember, Alameda and Contra Costa County have approximately double the amount of homes for sale compared to 12 months ago, and prices are down, right? Alameda County went from 1.3 even, now it's at 267 million, and Contra Costa went from 871,000 to 864,000. That's a decrease of 0.9% there, and a decrease of 2.5% in Alameda. In fact, that was the biggest decline amongst these counties in the Bay Area. In contrast, San Mateo is up by a whopping 7.4%. It went from 1.955 million to $2.1 million this September. That was the biggest percent increase in dollar amount as well, which is pretty crazy because San Mateo is the most expensive county in California at $2.1 million this September. In contrast, Sonoma County is down by 2.1%. In regards to sales increased in all these counties except for Contra Costa. Sales fell by 2.1%. Isn't that crazy? Contra Costa County, even though they have nearly double the amount of homes for sale, sales decreased compared to 1 year ago, down by 2.1%. Marin's up by 10.1 though. Napa's up by 18.6. Solano and Sonoma is up by around 18%. Let's take a look at SoCal though, because Orange County, they're around 1.4 million, an increase of 6.7% year over year. But sales are flat year over year. San Diego, look at that, $1 million. Last year it was at 973,000. That's an increase of 2.8%, and sales rose by 9.4%. In contrast, Ventura County, if you guys know what's going on there, let me know, because prices decreased by 6.5%. The Central Coast, Monterey, love Monterey, $1 million, an increase of 6% year over year. But sales fell by 1.3%. The only county in the Central Coast that posted a gain in sales year over year was actually in Santa Barbara, up by 6.9%. Santa Cruz, I don't know what's going on there. I'm guessing they probably have a big sale that occurred this September, or more home sales at the upper range of the market and less home sales at the lower range this last month. That's because their median sale price rose by 11.6%, if I can get the highlight there. Let's talk about the Central Valley and Sacramento. We're at 560,000. 1 year ago, 545. That's up by 2.8%, and sales rose by 4%. Quite a bit different than the nearly 13% decrease in sales from 1 year ago in Placer County, but their prices prices decreased by 0.8%. Also in Tulare County, just south of Sacramento, by about an hour and a half, prices decreased by 2.3%. The far north, these metrics tend to vary quite a bit depending on the sales, because they had kind of a low level of sales in that region. But looking at these other regions, Calaveras County also posted a decrease in prices, down by 2.9%, but in Amador County, we're up by 4.4%. In Yolo County and Yuba, very close to Sacramento, we're up in prices, up by 0.2% in Yolo and a gain of 1.6% in Yuba. And sales rose by double digits in Yolo, but sales fell by 8.3% year over year in Yuba County. If you guys got any value out of today's video, then please hit the like button. Also, if you guys are thinking about buying a house in Sacramento or the greater Sacramento area, or you want to sell a house, then please reach out to me. My email is jason@meetjasonwalter.com. We would love to help you. With that said, I appreciate you guys so much for watching today's video. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.